don't do that.
Why would the media not take an active interest in this? Is it apathy amongst the audience? Is there no interest?
No, I can tell you the readership's there.
Okay.
When we cover this stuff, people are very much interested. Even your story the other day about.
So then there's ulterior motives as to why this.
I think it's just a general dumbing down and competence level that we're at. Like John says in the legal fraternity, so too in the journalism community.
Right.
We've got a lot of young journalists here who don't probably have that knowledge that they need to interrogate organizations like that. And then there is the issue that you always come into with, they're an Aboriginal organization. We shouldn't be holding them to this high standard and demanding this. And then, I mean, that's just problematic on its own. And when
isn't that called the bigotry of low expectations?
Yeah. And I think the ABC, that explains the ABC to me. And I've been working with ABC for 30 years. And I've seen it deteriorate like everything else has. I mean, in days gone by, they would be interrogating this, notwithstanding the politics of it, which is sort of anti-Aboriginal, if you like, and anti-left wing, which the ABC is sort of labelled with. But I think that's what they're doing now. They just think we can't attack an Aboriginal organisation. 30% of our population is Aboriginal. It will look bad for us, which is just the opposite of what the media should be doing, especially a national broadcaster, because once again, we're paying for that. Yeah. So we're being failed on all accounts. I mean, I say that, the media is more important, dare I say it, than NAAJA. And if you haven't got a media working in your society, you haven't got a free society. You haven't got democracy. And that is massive at the moment.
So who are the voices that could then cut through? But is it political voices that need to have more of a say in this, or?
Well, the right wing will jump on it probably and exploit it, sadly. Now, what's going to happen, I don't know. But, I would imagine there's always been afoot the desire to get rid of Aboriginal organisations. I remember when I was working at NAAJA, John Howard got voted in 96, and I was the solicitor in charge, and Pat Anderson was the chairman of the board. And from the very first day that he got in, on the Sunday, John Howard appeared on what was called the Sunday programme then, which is a good current affairs programme. And he said that one of his things that he was going to do was cut funding to Aboriginal organisations that weren't working. And Pat Anderson said to me, because she was wise and knew what day it was, and she was Indigenous, she says, I knew this would happen. He'll be going after us. So for some reason, because it's not big money, in the scheme of things, it really isn't. But for some reason, ideologically with the Liberal Party, they want to see the end of your NAAJAs and your equivalents. So I would think that's why Dreyfus is probably digging in, because he's being an opponent to the opposition. So my prediction is if the opposition gets in Canberra, they're definitely gone. But they might be gone now anyway. I mean, how much can the community take?
Well, and it'd be interesting what the NT government does, right? In their role here and managing the money or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. And are they still conducting an audit? Is that?
Well, the last I heard, it was still going on. I haven't found anything that showed us that it had happened. I don't think it was included in that letter earlier this year from the Attorneys General. But I would love to see the results of that. I don't know if they'll ever make that public.
But should an audit become public? Is it just a toothless tiger in that sense anyway? Like, would anything happen anyway?
Well, the lack of accountability is everywhere, like John said, and everything that we see. I mean, what are you going to do, give it to the ICAC? Right? That's become a punchline here in the Northern Territory. Are they going to investigate mismanagement of money?
We'll leave that to another podcast, I reckon. that one.
I think...
it's just... But that's what I'm getting at. Everything's broken here.
Yeah. So where do we start then? Like, I mean, I keep circling around to solutions, and it just seems like... What thread do we pull out here before everything sort of unravels?
Well, I think you've got to slow down with solutions, because I think the first thing you have to do is put all the lights on in the room.
Okay.
And the room is deliberately dimmed by the authorities, by the establishment. They are so powerful, the establishment.
Right.
So they've got the media basically lying in the corner, not questioning them. And this could just go on forever and ever. So I would have thought, without the media, you, Stuart, have to replace it in a sense by informing the community about the truth of these matters fully and genuinely. Once the community are apprised of what the reality is, then you can rest assured, and there's a lot of people out there already seriously dissatisfied and knowing that this is not working. You can rest assured that things can happen for the better. But we're not going to do it without the community being informed, which is absolutely key to the establishment, the status quo continuing in the way it does. I mean, the public service, that whole animal is really open for questioning.